You are all aware MS Swaminathan Foundation has been working with the tribal and marginal communities in three different hotspots of agrobiodiversity, namely Kolli Hills in Tamil Nadu, the part of Eastern Ghats, and also Koraput in Odisha, and also in Kerala, Wayanad region of Kerala. We work with smallholders of marginal communities. And though they have rich agrobiodiversity in the past, due to various reasons, it started declining. And MSSRF has started addressing those issues. How that is linked with the food and nutrition security of the poor. What could be the agrobiodiversity and its contribution in their food and livelihood security in that region. We have indicators to showcase that those communities, they are deprived of calorie and also protein as well as micronutrient deficiency. By and large, they have a limited access to milk and also large extent to the fish. So they depend on the nutri-rich crops like millets and some pulses and so on. So those crops also started declining due to various pressures. And in that context, there could be how MSSRF has been working on how those existing agrobiodiversity can be linked with the farming system for nutrition that finally that can contribute to the food and nutrition security in the marginal communities. So we see that the four blocks here: conservation, production, consumption, and markets. I put it in the context of agrobiodiversity, where it all linked with the local institutions like seeds, sharing practices, seed banks, and also linking with different communities. It's a cultural linkage that contributed for conservation of agrobiodiversity. On the other hand, if you look at it, limited access to the so-called improved agronomic practices vis-a-vis these agrobiodiversity that also contributed to decline in terms of agrobiodiversity in those regions. And consumption practices also, if you look at the younger generation, there is a knowledge gap between the elder and younger that has also contributed for declining. And lack of market or not improved market for these agrobiodiversity also contributed its decline. So MSSRF, with the support of various agencies, thanks to Biodiversity International, IFAD, IDRC, NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, we have extended many programs in participatory way with the local communities and tribal communities in that region. To begin with that, everything begins with knowledge, local knowledge. We call it as Biodiversity International talking about custodian farmers. Those farmers, they conserve, cultivate, and share and innovate with the fellow community. So these are the attributes that defines the custodian farmer. So MSSRF has documented the local knowledge linking to agrobiodiversity, whether it is a culinary preferences or adaptive preferences or productivity preferences of those local crops, and trying to recognize those farmers, those farm families in that region. This could be one method of linking the agrobiodiversity in the mainstream agricultural research. And also trying to document nutri-sensitive farming practices. If you look at the mixed farming system in a hilly region, they have series of crops that go by different sequence of harvest. If you look at very closely, those crop choices made by the local farmers, it has nutrition attributes. So based on that, they may have it may be climate sensitive agricultural farming system. At the same time, they have nutrition attributes too. So documentation of that knowledge and validating in the context of agriculture, putting in the farming system of nutrition is also imperative. And we also see that we hear from the morning the local knowledge, particularly the culinary diversity, that starts from women and their contribution in terms of ratio, in terms of mix, in terms of recipes, what they make, and documentation of those knowledge, and linking with the nutrition science is also very important. MSSRF has been doing that with the local tool called Seed Mela or the Food Mela. In the local villages, we used to do that. And also it can contribute, the local agrobiodiversity can contribute to the improvement, crop improvement. Say for example in Odisha, Kala Jira is the one variety that is over a period of 6-7 generations, our scientists, they have improved in participation with the local community. That has led to market. Similarly, we can have different examples that can contribute to the science as well as local level productivity enhancement, and finally that leads to nutrition security as well. So how we do? We link it with local seed banks. We also involve farmers in the participatory varietal selection programs, wherein they evaluate the local material along with the improved material accessible from the agricultural research stations. So farmers were given option to make their own choices based on productivity preferences, culinary preferences, and also adaptive preferences. So that kind of science is essential, blending the local wisdom with the frontier technology. And I move on to the nutrition garden in the context of farming system for nutrition. Thanks to IDRC for supporting that since 2011 and 13, and where we have taken up this nutrition garden, linking with local cultivars as well as with the improved varieties. Lot of vegetables has extended to them. That has contributed for incremental usage in their household kitchen. And also, if you look at that, over a period of time, when we encourage that kind of practices with the local communities, diversity in terms of crop as well as dietary diversity also have increased over a period of time. And thanks to NABARD, there are projects, you look at Wadi, across the country they have. And now there is a time for moving from agroforestry to nutri-farms. Now you see here in Kolli Hills of Eastern Ghats, MSSRF has extended agroforestry program with the support of NABARD, wherein the local community, they have made their physical asset converted into a productive asset in the context of integrating horticulture and nutritious crops as well as greens and animal husbandry and water. So there is a lot of connection. This provides them kind of endurance and ability to combat any kind of crisis if they come across. And interestingly, when they grow this kind of agroforestry, linking to the farming and also nutrition subject, they could access different kinds of green from the agroforestry system. So this has contributed a lot. That kind of change from the agroforestry to the nutri-farm is very much essential. And critically, if you look at the usage of agrobiodiversity, I put it in the context of millets. If you look at, there are 6 different minor millets or now it's a nutri millets, and set aside finger millet, even the kodo millet or proso millet, foxtail millet. Lot of diversity is there. And if you look at the available technology, even today there are certain species of millets need support from R&D, particularly for the processing, emery technology, sorting machine, and so on. So those things are very important. That can ensure this should be addressed at the farm level. That can provide food and nutrition security at the farm gate or at the household level. And skill building is very important, particularly looking at the women and men. It can be done. This will lead to markets, the local crops and diversity that can reach to the local community as well as to the urban elites market. But in this context, it is very imperative nutrient analysis of those crops. That is very important, so that the larger urban food basket will have more nutritive crops. In that, branding for the local crops is also very essential. We have made it in the context of Kolli Hills, and now these products reaches to the many urban markets, and also fetches income, and the value chain development for local crops provides income opportunity for the local poor. And popularizing these kind of efforts is essential. Many times, we talk about valorizing the main crops, and valorizing the local crops is very essential, and linking and placing that in different platforms, right from local rural theatre to the policymaker at different levels, placing them, and that will give image. And engaging youth and Panchayat Raj institutions and state is also very, very imperative. And we work with the CRISAT also in the Smart Food program. Thanks to that, this will give an image for the local crop. And finally, genetic and nutrition literacy. Thanks to Professor and MSSRF has taken a pioneering initiative on 3 different acts: Biodiversity Act in the country, Protection of Plant Variety and Farmers' Rights Act, and Food Security Act. I see, there is a lot of interconnect between these 3 acts. We can provide rights to the farmers, and those local crops can be valorized and improved, and that can reach to the market. So this is how we do, science-based, participatory, enabling the local capacity and building the grassroots. So finally, this one, even though we have done this, this has to be scaled up to different ecological and social conditions elsewhere in the country. For that, strengthening the local seed system is very important. Farm level processing unit, value chain intervention for local crops, product development based on nutrient rights. NIN they have done a lot of work, but there are opportunities to explore further, particularly in the context of the richness that we have in the country. And FPOs, farmer producer organization, those who are dealing with agrobiodiversity, they need to be provided with incentives. And public-private partnership is also very essential. Thank you very much.